at the latest news in LOTRO and here at LOTRO Players. Tonight with me are Andang,
Hey, everybody.
Mystery,
Hey there.
Ethelrose,
Hello.
and Sig.
Howdy.
You sounded so enthusiastic.
Well, you want him to yell, Baruch Gazad!
Well, you already did that, so he doesn't have to now.
There you go.
I didn't
Someone had to
hear
say
it, so it doesn't count. It's like that, if a tree falls in the forest, does it make a noise if you're not there to hear it? I wasn't there to hear it.
There's actually a quest in Wildermore about that, but anyway.
Very well. Tonight, the big news is big battles.
Yay!
I thought the
Worst
big news is
title
that we actually
ever
had
for a
news to
system.
talk about.
Yeah, big battles. Over during the last week, the people at LOTRO Turbine put up a 20 questions talking about big battles, which is the new system that is being introduced with Helm's Deep, and this is to represent those large, epic, major fights that you have in Helm's Deep, because you're not going to be able to get the feel of Helm's Deep in a skirmish, because, well, a skirmish by definition is a small battle.
However, it does sound very similar to the skirmish system as far as like the optional objectives and stuff like that. But obviously, it's very different, but it has the same type of idea behind it, I think, as a skirmish.
Skirmishes still feel epic to me.
Well, yes, they couldn't feel epic compared to maybe something that's even on an even smaller scale. Especially if you have a large number of people there, like 12 or 6.
And one of them goes to lunch.
Oh, maybe I shouldn't have
Never
brought that
gonna
up.
live this down, even though I did. She never talks about the fact that I do skirmishes with her afterwards, and I'm totally made it up. But whatever.
Very well. Let us skip by that and let's talk about what big battles are and what do they mean by big and how many enemies are involved.
Which they never gave a real number to.
Well, yes.
Even though they asked the question, they never answered it.
Yes. Well, a big battle is a new type of instance because currently we have your quest instances right now, we have our dungeons, we have our skirmishes, and I presume and housing instances. But in Helm's Deep, we're introducing a new style of instance. These are big battles, and the idea is to give the feel that you need in a major epic battle such as Helm's Deep, or later on, perhaps when they get to Gondor or Pelennor, where things are really huge armies going against each other. And in this, the idea that they want is to give the moment gameplay. They want strategic and tactical decisions that need to be made. In other words, there'll be a great many decisions that have to be made. They have to define victory in a way that scales. So instead of having you win or you lose, you have a grade at the end for your various items that you do.
Which, isn't this the only system that's like that, where it's not a win or lose, aside from like PvP?
I think so, because usually when I think about things, things tend to be win or lose. When I first heard this, one of the things that came to my mind was the challenge system in DDO, but then when I looked it up, I found out there are 5 types of objectives in a challenge, and they are all win and lose. So even that is win and lose for all the objectives.
Right, which is why I kind of consider it like a skirmish, is because you have those optional boss fights or encounters, I guess is what they're called, that you can do, but you don't have to. You just have to finish the skirmish.
Yes.
So it's very remotely like a skirmish. That's the easiest thing to compare it to, I think.
All right. Except in this case, it sounds like there will be a lot more of these optional things, or that you're trying to achieve along the way.
Right. Yeah.
Like, it looks like if you are told that you must protect 20 Rohirrim, you'll be given a different score based on the number of Rohirrim that survived, rather than saying if you get 10 survive, then you win. If you get less than 10 surviving, you lose, which is the way most instances work today.
Right. Which I hope to actually cause my Rohirrim to multiply somehow and gain new Rohirrim.
Reinforcements.
Right. Reinforcements. Because I'll be so awesome, they'll like, I want to fight after that champion.
Yes, very well. Now,
or at least have a captain and summon a herald and feel like it happened.
Now, one of the interesting things that they're going to be doing here is that they are going to be allowing lower level players to participate. All the actual fights are going to be at level 95, but if you enter at a lower level, then your character will be upscaled to be 95 for the duration of the instance. And it starts at level 10 as the earliest point in which you're able to enter one of these.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of controversy over this, kind of, because people are, a lot of people are for it, a lot of people are, wait and see, and a lot of people are against it. A lot of games are moving into this type of content, and I'm glad LOTRO's following suit. I think that it's good to allow somebody to get involved with the end game and see what it's like before they try out a game, especially an MMO, obviously. I think it's a really good opportunity to show people, here's what you have to look forward to. You're not going to be, you might be as powerful as another player, but it's not going to be as fun because you don't have all your skills and all that stuff. So there's still plenty of incentive for people to, level up and go through all that. That was one of the arguments against it.
You're not really going to be as powerful because you don't have all those skills is one reason, but there are other reasons you're not going to be as powerful.
Well, they could scale it to make you so overpoweredly powerful to make it be even, is my point.
No, I don't
think they'll do that either, but they could.
Well, Sapiens said that they're definitely not doing this. That someone who is level 10 who scaled up is going to increase the stats that they have, but they're not going to get any new stats in the process. And when you have weapons, usually you gain new stats in addition to getting higher levels of the stats.
Right, but what I'm saying is they can increase the stats enough to compensate is basically what I'm saying.
Well, he's saying that they're not going to do that.
Okay, cool.
And that's the thing that was made clear on the matter is that you're going to be enough so that you can contribute. And a good commander, I think, is going to utilize their troops for what they can do. For example, in a real battlefield, no one has every single troop under their command perfectly suited for everything, for example. They know who are the less experienced ones, who are the more experienced ones, and they assign them to roles that would be most suitable for the battle.
And this way we can say the line, some have seen too many winters and some have seen too few.
Yes. True.
Sorry, so are you saying that when a level 10 goes up into that level 95 range, they're not also getting the skills of a level 95?
Right.
No, they're not.
They're not getting
How the developer explained it is you click on it, you go in, and you play. That's the only boost you get is from the stats you go are scaled up to the 95, and that's it.
It's like the epic story.
Oh, because when I read that we scale your character's stats and skills to level 95, I thought you'd be getting the 95 skills as well.
No, I think they're just giving you like, maybe they might do enhanced skills, but I doubt even that. I'm guessing that they just make your skills be comparable with players of that level. So basically they're just changing the stats.
a level 10 character is going to have so few skills, is it even worth doing?
Well, they are doing this in line with the character revamps. So we'll have to see what
Yeah, that's the
happens
other
in the
thing.
revamps and how this will work along with it. But the two teams are supposedly working hand in hand in order to make this work.
But I mean,
And not
honestly, a level 10 Freep has as many skills as a new creep in PvP, so I don't see what. It's not
Yeah,
that big of an issue.
creeps manage well enough with very few skills.
If
and a
anything,
lot
it
of it
helps you.
depends on. Sorry,
Go
go
ahead,
ahead.
Sig.
Oh, I was just going to say, a lot of it depends on how exactly they do the scaling. To use Star Wars: The Old Republic as an example, they do the same thing when you go into PvP war zones, and you get scaled up to max level as far as your health is concerned and things like that, but you don't have access to all the same skills that you would have at level 10, or as at level 10, you wouldn't have all your level 55 skills. And the scaling is done so well that you can go in as a level 10 and actually stand a chance against somebody who's a level 55 with all their skills.
Right, and that's how Elder Scrolls Online is supposed to work as well, and several other MMOs are doing the same type of thing. So it's not a surprise that LOTRO is getting this, but I'm really glad they are.
Yeah, me too.
Actually, when you're saying that, talking about games that allow you to see the end game, when you're at a lower level, I remember there was one game, Eve, where they don't even do scaling, but because of the way the game works, even someone relatively new in a relatively cheap ship can participate because they have roles that could be done by the small scale ships. But
Right,
that's hard to
but
do in an MMO with leveling.
right, Eve is a whole different beast.
Yeah, it's a whole different thing. Yes. All right.
Well,
So look,
the thing to bear in mind is, obviously, the battles are not just based on combat, which is obviously a silly thing to say, really, but it is based on achieving certain objectives, and obviously part of those objectives might not be based on actually killing things.
Right, hopefully we can have the
Yeah.
level 10s just stand by the flag and wait till it turns.
well,
That kind of thing.
well, they'll probably be defending certain areas or something like
Right.
that. As I said, we'll have to see what the actual battles are like, what the objectives are, and of course, a good
yeah.
commander will know how to assign to various people.
And it sounds like it'll be really diverse because there's going to be several different battles that they're going to be doing, so different parts of it. So
In a follow-up post, the developer did give examples of some of the objectives we might have. I'm not sure whether they're actually going to be them, but obviously examples.
Yes, yeah, here it goes. Let's see. I think this is it right here. Let's see.
one of them was
To
like
complete
Go ahead.
To complete the instance requires you to succeed in a minimum number of objectives. Your final score, though, will vary on how well you achieve these objectives overall. It is expected that a scaled level 10 will likely only complete a few objectives, while a well-coordinated, capped level group will be able to get a maximum grade. The challenge is not finishing the instance, but getting the best grade. It's not just that you're still standing when the walls blows up. It's how many Rohirrim are still standing with you. How many banners or flags of Rohan still fly. How many injured soldiers were you able to protect. How long did it take to dam the culvert, and how many workers were lost doing it. Did your catapult survive the battle? How many pieces of the gatehouse's doors in? How many supplies did the enemy burn, etc., etc.,
That just sounds so awesome.
It does.
Yeah,
I
I really like
can't-
that post.
I
Actually.
really like how it's like when the wall blows up.
That's when the wall blows up.
Well, that's the thing.
It's not
Not
if the
if.
wall blows up, it's when the wall blows up.
Well, most of the instance battles we've had, this one is set. Everything happens at a certain time in the battle.
Mhm.
It's going to happen, and we can't change that.
Yeah.
So it's more of a fighting retreat than anything else.
Which is how Helm's Deep is. I'm glad they're building this system for that.
Now, next question is, do big battles support traditional group sizes? This is solo, raids, etc. And the answer on this one is very interesting, is in that each instance in the Battle of Helm's Deep will have a solo option and another size. And the solo option allows 2 players inside of it, so it's more like a solo/duo size.
Yeah,
And
I hope it's scaled to solo though.
yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to see exactly what they do there. I suspect that it's going to be one of those cases where, if you want a really high score, it's going to either 2 people with middling range or a solo person who's at cap
Right.
and who knows what they're doing. Yes. And of course, select instances of the battle will also feature certain group sizes as options, either 3, 6, or 12. And the group version will be completely different from the solo version. So there'll be new objectives for the larger group ones. And that's because, of course, there'll be more people. It's a bigger battle.
No doubt, obviously, I think it was mentioned before that some of the objectives might require you to be in different places, so you might have to split the raid up.
I suspect you'll guaranteed to have to split the raid up. You're going to have to divide it into little sub-squads and send people out in order to do various roles in order to complete everything.
Which should be pretty exciting because I don't think we've seen that happen too much in raids and instances today.
I can only think of one spot where it does that.
Which is where?
Well, I don't know if it's been changed, but old school original Thorog, you had to split your raid up into multiple groups.
Yeah, that's
Haven't
the only...
done it since they've changed it, or changed to the skirmish panel join and all that stuff. But
Right, that's the only
Yeah.
place I remember. But obviously in PvP, you're having to split up your group all the time. And so I'm glad to see that we'll have that same tactical type of thought in PvE content. I'm really excited to see what they do with it.
Right. Now, concerning Helm's Deep and tiers, in that you're not going to have multiple tiers that you have with skirmishes or the classic instances. Instead, you will be rated on a scaled item, so therefore the challenge, the equivalent to trying to complete challenge mode there is trying to get a perfect score and achieve everything, which I haven't seen, of course, anything yet, so I have no idea how big of a challenge this is going to be.
Yeah, it sounds like challenge mode's basically built into the system from day one.
Right. So we'll see how
So,
that works.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, until beta starts, no one's going to really know except the people who are on the ultra secret test servers.
And the player council, probably.
Yeah, and the player council, yes, those are the only people who we know the names of that know anything about this. And what are the differences between big battles and traditional raids? Traditional raids and instance content focuses on the player. These instances, the enemy are not focusing on you. They are trying to achieve whatever their objectives are, and you are another person they're trying to kill that's trying to keep them from achieving these objectives. If their objective, for example, is to kill everyone, well, that means, well, you're just have to be included in the list of everyone. If their objective is to bust down a certain gate, then the fact that you're standing in their way is the only reason why they're going to be attacking you. They're not going to go out of their way to attack you if that gate is in front of them.
Which
I
is
actually... Go ahead, Chip.
well, yeah, I was going to say that this is pretty unique, I think, for LOTRO as it is, because in almost every instance or raid, it's always been about us because we are the heroes. There's no one else there to help, and you occasionally get like a single NPC who's part of the story, but other than that, it's always us on the front line, with no one else to help.
Yeah, we actually talked about this in a prediction episode of Update Talks, I believe. And basically we said that, we hope that you're just a number in the battle. And so this statement was almost like perfectly geared to our question that we made in predictions. And I'm really glad to see that, all the enemies are going to be focusing on completing an objective, not killing the enemies first and then doing like an objective or something like that. I'm really glad that they've made that statement at least. We'll see how it works out.
Right. And now the question is, will Helm's Deep also feature traditional boss progression style content? In other words, is it going to have a traditional dungeon? And they're saying no. Right up in the front, the instances that are coming with Helm's Deep and that are involved in the Helm's Deep expansion are all going to be big battles. I mean, of course, you'll have your usual quest instances and stuff like that, but I mean the large-scale instances that you'll be doing are all going to be from the big battle system.
Yeah, and I might be mistaken on this, but an impression I got is that this will be the case for the whole Helm's Deep cycle. So until the next expansion comes along, we're not going to get any classic, let's call them style instances.
Well, I don't think they meant that they're guaranteed not to have any instances of that type. I think what they meant there is that there aren't going to be anything that comes with the pay package, because the last couple of expansions, they put out the instance cluster, even though it was part of the expansion, in an update that was later.
I think that this definitely means that it's not going to be part of Helm's Deep at all. It might come with the zone update later, but I really doubt it. I just hope that they make the Helm's Deep instance as awesome as possible, and if that means that we don't get raids for a year, then I'm fine with that, as long as because there's still raid content on the in Helm's Deep, and you can't do classic stuff, I don't think, while doing Helm's Deep.
And to be honest, I don't think it'd be wise for them to work on this whole new mechanic, whole new system, really, and then also build, a set of raids or set of instances as well, because I think we've seen how the instances they recently made turned out. People don't seem to be very happy with them.
Yeah, I think that they really need to focus on this and not focus on anything else. I was surprised that back in Mirkwood, when they had skirmishes and they also had the raiding content as well. So I'm glad that they're just focusing on this new content and making it as awesome as possible.
All right. Hello, Lily.
She's on the call. She'll join us later, I'm sure.
Okay. Lizzie stole her headset.
Most likely.
Yes. All right. Now, how do the devs see big battles fitting in with other types of instance content currently in the game? And is it only going to be for Helm's Deep, or will we see more in the future? And of course, to answer the second one first, we'll likely see it in the future when they have another big battle to handle. Pelennor is almost definitely going to be handled through the big battle system. But if we have something later on that's more easily handled by a skirmish or a traditional dungeon raid, it's going to be done that way.
Basically, they'll use whatever is most appropriate.
Yes.
I believe the term they used was, it's just another tool in their toolbox.
Right. I'd like to see them try to do Pelennor in a skirmish, though.
Oh, God.
That'd be
in
interesting.
A skirmish?
Well, you said they wouldn't be in a skirmish or anything else. I think it'd be interesting to see what they came up with.
Well,
yeah.
I would say Pelennor sounds like something. Their biggest challenge with Pelennor is how are they going to mix a big battle with mounted combat?
Yeah, that's a huge issue because they haven't even done that with skirmishes yet.
Right. And they're going to probably have to experiment with that at some point in the future. But they did make it clear that during this expansion, they are not going to try to mix mounted combat and big battles, because we're going to have enough trouble just trying to get big battles to work.
Yeah, but they do the ride down the hill at the end of the Helm's Deep battle, so...
I'm not sure because I haven't read them in a while, but I think in the books they just walk down. Like, it's not as dramatic.
Did they just walk down? I'm pretty sure they rode down.
Can I interject? Hello, everybody.
Yes.
Sorry I'm late.
Hey, Lily Kate.
Hi, they actually ride out of Helm's Deep. The guys that come down off the hill is Erkenbrand and his other soldiers that Gandalf rescued.
Yes, and and that eventually, of course, has the orcs surrounded as a result of that.
Yeah, that's the horns. Yeah.
But yes, but the idea, okay, you do have at the very end, but I have a feeling that they're going to be focusing for most of the stuff on the times when things are going against you, because let's face it, once
Yeah.
Erkenbrand comes in, the whole thing turns into a slaughter. It's not going to be very interesting.
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
think it'd
some
be
of the
fun to
ones
be
I
part
could
of it,
think
though.
of would be the beginning, the very beginning, like where you're just trying to keep them off the walls and such, and then maybe one of them after the wall's been breached.
Yeah,
They've
it's the
blown it
last
up.
ride out, isn't it? The end battle is the kind of the last ride out. They don't know that
Yeah,
Erkenbrand's
yeah,
there
that's
right up to what they think is certain death.
Right, but they have to join him sometime. I mean, the battle has to end.
Yes. Well, we'll have to see what they decide to do concerning that matter. But as I said before, mounted combat is going to be a very tough system to do with so soon after introducing mounted combat. Trying to mix that with the new system is going to be like mixing nitroglycerin with, oh,
I definitely don't think we'll see player-mounted combat, but I hope we see NPCs riding somewhere in the instance. Or a big battle, or whatever you want to call it.
well, there might be a chance for that. We'll have to wait and see whenever they get around to start doing beta invites and stuff like that. All right, how will the big battles fit in with the storyline for Helm's Deep? Will participation in big battles be required to complete the storyline, or is it an optional system? And the Battles of Helm's Deep will be integrated into the Western Rohan epic in the same way as skirmishes were in Mirkwood. So in other words, yes, you're going to have to do big battles if you want to complete the epic.
Which is the main reason why I think they had to add in a solo option.
well, yeah. I mean, I think this is what we were always going to do ever since they started moving towards this. Because I think someone who wants to take part in Helm's Deep, it's one of the most well-known events, really, especially from the movies. I think someone who's generally solos wouldn't want to miss out on that. You get a lot of
Yeah.
upset people.
Yep. So yeah, I think that's definitely a great thing that it's part of the epic.
All right, and besides, it's such an epic battle, it has to be part of the epic. All right, will I be able to play my character? And that's the thing that's they made very clear in this, is you're playing your own character. Your character might be upscaled in order to be able to participate, but it will be your own character. It's not session play, it's not some assumed identity or anything like this. It is your character that you are playing.
Which opens up a whole can of law beans.
Yes, but I mean we've seen how they do session plays where they give you a ranger with like 4 skills. I'm not, I really don't want
Yeah.
to be, if I'm an elf, I don't want to be going there and, having 4 skills as a ranger.
Well, I mean, for like the epic, you're usually only in those instances for about 10 minutes. But Helm's Deep, they think you said about half an hour or at minimum.
Well,
Right.
So
right
and-
now they say that it's going to be about half an hour for the solo version, a little less than an hour for the group version.
Yeah, they said max of a half hour for the solo and max of a half hour for the group.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you can imagine that's quite a long time to be playing a character that you didn't create.
Especially since there's
Don't-
like gonna be, several versions of the battle. That's, several hours of content.
Yeah.
Yeah, so therefore it looks like that it's going to be about a little bit longer than a skirmish, because a skirmish right now takes about 15, 20 minutes, and a group could do it probably 30 to 40 minutes, depending on the raid. So it's about the right time, I would say. It's a little bit longer than a skirmish, but it is a big battle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's probably still shorter than most raiding content.
Yeah.
Well,
But
yeah, certainly shorter.
No, I was going to say, on the subject of the whole lore issue, in the books it is like explicitly stated that it's either Rohirrim, a bunch of them, and then it's Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli, and that's it. No other races were present for the whole thing. So having us there is a law break.
Right, and
That's
I
about
think
as
the
simple
only
as it can
reason
be.
that this is such a big issue is because Peter Jackson already broke the lore. Because, I mean, there aren't hobbits in, the plains of Rohan, and nobody really, cared too much about that.
Yeah, you'd
You
think.
know,
Well,
The way
they've
I
already
see it,
broken the lore however many times by letting classes go to places where they're not supposed to. So, I mean, it's not a big deal on my book.
frankly, I'm confused as to why this one in particular is a big issue. Even with the whole Peter Jackson thing, I thought there would be more to it than that. It just seems
I
strange to
think
me that
that's
this
pretty
one.
much. It's because people don't want LOTRO to break the lore as well. They want to draw a line and have a pure Helm's Deep.
well, you're not going to have if you're going to have an MMO about the Lord of the Rings, there is no way you can give it an enjoyable experience and never break the lore at the same time.
You could
Yeah,
do it.
to be honest, I would just have to ask those people. I mean, how they expected Turbine to do this Helm's Deep thing without breaking the law and actually having people enjoy it, because you can't just throw someone a bland character and say, yeah, you can go through on that and you'll enjoy it. Because you won't, because you're not attached to that character, you're attached to yours. And if you miss out on, Helm's Deep,
Right.
it's about one of the most significant battles in the whole Third Age, or at least the part that we're participating in, people are going to be really ticked off by it.
Yeah. Sig, were you trying to say something?
I was just saying that there's no way that you could have an MMO based on this IP and not break the lore. It's not possible.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I think just put helmets on the hobbits, call them lads. Put helmets on the elves, hide their ears, and let's just enjoy the game.
Yeah, I agree, Lily. Okay.
All right. Now, the question one person asked was, of course, is are there locks or cooldowns? And the answer is no.
Which
No
means
locks.
that people are going to be free to go through them repeatedly in a
Just-
single day and then complain they're bored of it. But
Well, no matter what they do, people are going to complain. When there are locks, people complain. When there are no locks, people complain.
which is going to really depend on how fun the actual Helm's Deep instances are to run through. If they're going to leave locks off, then they should at least try to make them as long-lasting as they can. Which I think is a problem they ran into with the Erebor instances, that they seemingly aren't.
Yeah, and I think the idea of putting locks on content is an older MMO idea. A lot of MMOs have stopped putting locks on content, and so I mean there is a reason for locks, but in today's market, it's just not happening anymore. So I'm glad that they're not.
All
There's
right.
probably going to be 6 months worth of grind anyway, so some sort of new token or faction or whatever.
It'll
Yeah.
be the platinum medals.
No,
Well,
they
yeah,
can
there is a
say
new
it's
currency.
barter currency.
There's actually meant to be a new tree which you spend points as well, so there's a whole new thing with this. Whether it'll feel grindy is a different question.
Personally, I'm just looking forward to seeing what they do with that. I think just keep your mind open and try and enjoy it as much as possible.
All right. And, of course, loot. How's loot being handled? As players obtain medals for various objectives throughout the battle, they will earn class-based rewards. The higher the quality of the medals earned, the better the quality of the reward. And you'll also get marks, medallions, and seals. I assume the seals are only for the raid level ones.
Yeah.
So
we'll
basically,
presume.
it's like all other raid content that LOTRO's ever made, loot-wise, essentially.
Yeah.
I guess that's
With
a good way of
regards
putting
to
it.
the medal system, I believe they posted that you can trade up, so you can go from bronze to silver, silver to gold, but not gold to platinum.
Right.
The thing I still haven't actually asked that in the thread, which I thought was should hopefully be answered soon, is the exchange rate, because the history with this sort of trading up is that it's almost non-viable to actually trade up at all.
Yeah.
You get so little out of it. There's almost no point.
Well, they have to make it so I don't think it should be a particularly favorable, probably maybe not as bad as some of it is these days, but yes, it's something so that it be possible, but they don't want to make it so that it would encourage people to do it that way.
Yeah, it shouldn't be preferable, but at least to be a good, decent way of doing it if you absolutely cannot actually get the silver and gold medals on their own. If you aren't capable, or if you just don't have the good enough gear to do it.
I mean, turbine points are easier to get than the exchange rate usually, so.
Yeah.
All you need to do is open your wallet.
All right. Now, note that whilst equipment will be scaled, other factors in equipment and abilities will mean that level 95s will still be better. That's the point that they made during the later on responses, and that they're trying to get the class updates to work with this, not against it. And let's see. And that big battles will be entered through the instance finder, so it'll probably be another selected key on there. And of course, rewards will be based on your true level, not on your scaled level. So therefore, that means that you'll get more rewards if you're level 95 going in there than if you're a 10 who was scaled up to 95.
Which makes
And
sense.
Yeah, I was about to say that makes sense.
Yeah, I think the idea with this is more similar to the new prelude things they developed. Where in the intro, you get like a little quest that shows you like almost screenshots of different areas in the game you'll come to very later on. I think the ability to go in there from level 10 is just to give you a taster of Helm's Deep and the more iconic LOTRO areas.
So you're
Yep.
talking about that signs and portents quest
Yeah.
that they put in. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm not totally convinced that being able to go there from level 10 and up is actually going to be that viable to do from a currency point of view. It's more to do for fun, or if you want to just experience it.
Yes, I think that's a good way of putting that.
Hopefully it'll be equal to stuff at your level.
Yeah. Now, what is being thought of is that when you have a group, a kinship like the Academy, where we have this weekly field trip, and when the Academy gets together on their field trip, we usually have people of all different levels in there, all mishmashed, and we're trying to find something we can do together that's not either going to be completely silly because you've got this way over leveled person there, or that's going to squish someone else in there. And it's very challenging in order to get a group together and a piece of content that will really be enjoyable all the way through. And we think that this will be a nice solution on the matter.
Yeah, I hope that it works. I mean, assuming it works well, I hope that they bring it to other systems like the skirmish system.
Yeah, because
be-
getting... Nah, sorry.
I mean, it'd be really cool to have all your friends there with you, and because right now you literally can't join if you're more than 10 levels apart. You can't even get together at all, even if
Oh,
you're willing to have a terrible exchange rate. So,
actually, you can. It's just that you have to. It's the 10 level difference is relative to the level of the skirmish,
well, right.
not the level of the person you're skirmishing with.
Yep.
It would be
And
quite significant for skirmishes since, well, how they currently work is that the skirmish level scales to you or to your group very roughly, obviously, because there's going to be in that situation, there'll be a big difference. So it's quite rough. Obviously, with the scaling, your characters will be scaling to the skirmish instead. So theoretically, what would be the point of deciding what level you want the skirmish at if all the
For
people in
for
part of it are going to be
difficulty.
the same?
Before rewards,
So
isn't it?
everyone set the skirmish to level 40, since that's when the difficulty jumps.
So do you think, like, with the academy that Pineleaf brought up, we have, like, level 40, level 80s, all that sort of stuff. We'll do, like, a 6-man instance with only 4 people. So if we're all scaled the same for Helm's Deep, albeit we don't have all the same skills, would we still be able to do that, though, successfully?
oh,
And
you mean with
yeah,
4
if
instead of
we
6?
yeah, so, there's that aspect to
Yes.
think
The
about.
question happens when are people when it when the level cap gets raised to say 105, are people is the is the Helm's Deep stuff going to be still 95 and there'll be people
Mm,
10 levels above the
no,
content?
they've always raised when they always make it at the cap. In fact, I think usually they very often use the word cap instead of the level because when they raise the cap, they traditionally raise everything that's set at the old cap. Okay, not the traditional dungeons, the locked dungeons, not the old but something like big battles where people are going. But I think they pretty much are going to have to raise them up in the same way.
Yeah, so that'll be interesting as well to see
Yeah,
how that plans out.
we'll see how that works. Now, in the case of Miss's question, I will say that 4 people trying to do a 6-player version, I suspect that they can probably get through it, but they are unlikely that they will be able to get. They're unlikely to get platinum, and I have a feeling they're unlikely going to get gold. They might have to see if they could try to see if they can get silver as a result.
Well, I mean, that's an
Yeah.
easy way to see, if you make the top tier every single time you run it with your group, that's an easy way, just take out a guy, and then it's much harder.
Which is I think the main hope really is that getting the top rewards or the top grades is actually going to be challenging enough to make people want to keep trying. If people can just go in there the first time and go, okay, we beat the hardest difficulty or we got the best stuff, then what's the point of carrying on going through it?
Right.
All right. Now, anything else anyone wants to add on the matter of big battles?
Did you cover the bonus question that I added to the article?
The bonus question. Now I'm
It
trying.
has to do with performance.
The system requirements.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, system requirements. That is going to be tricky. Now they have said that they are updating their specification because they have not updated their specifications on minimum system in a long, long time. I can't remember where they said
They
it was
said
last done it.
since Agmar,
Moria, I
believe,
think they
or
said it
Moria.
was.
Yeah, it was Moria. So they haven't done it since Moria. That's a long time.
Yes, so therefore the current specs are already out of date, most likely, especially with mounted combat, for example. In order to do mounted combat viably, you need something better than the current minimum system.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Or
Especially
the
in snow areas
graphical,
like Wildermore.
or even
Oh,
the
that's
new
that.
Bree. you can tell when you go into like Newbury or some of the bigger Rohan settlements, the textures and the improved graphic systems and such. You can tell it takes a lot more power to get through than it does in like old Breland.
Yeah, so as a result of that, they have to update the specs anyway in order to catch up for all these years, and they're now taking big battles into consideration when they do this.
Which is good. I mean, it's bad that it's increasing, and some people might not be able to play big battles, but it doesn't sound like he did say in the post that it's not going to be increasing that much, but it's going to be increasing a lot because they haven't updated it in a while.
Yes, it's not big battles that's going to cause it to jump as high as it's going to. It's going to be the fact that they haven't updated it since forever.
Yeah. If no one else wants to mention something, there is a small point I would like to make. One of the follow-up posts by, I think it was J.W. Barry, one of the developer behind the whole system, I presume, is that the currency you're going to get, the whole medal system, is going to be on a per-character basis. So, obviously, there is the question raised of having alts if you're an altaholic. Getting how much of a pain is it going to be to gear up every one of those characters? Will you be able to trade across shared storage like you can with Hypebold, or are you just stuck grinding through for each single character?
Right, and they make it sound like that the medals aren't literally objects. They are instead more like a trait count or something like that.
Which makes a shared storage thing rather less likely.
Right.
Okay, can I just interrupt because Lizzie wants to say hello finally? Hello! There we are.
Hello.
Hey, Lizzie.
Everybody's saying it back.
Hello.
Okay. Yeah, she can't hear you because I've got the headset.
Ah.
I'm not giving it to her for I did that the other day when I was chatting to Mist and I never got it back.
That's true. That is so true.
But Lizzie's our baby hobbit.
Yes, that's true. Every
the LOTRO player's
podcast
baby
needs a
hobbit.
baby
Okay.
hobbit.
Now I have a question for you, Lily. How
Hello.
is it? Yeah. Yes. How is it that your daughter is up at 3 o'clock in the morning?
Do you want me to ask her? Pani wants to know why you're awake in the middle of the night. She's refusing to answer because it might incriminate herself.
Smart girl.
All right.
Yeah.
Does anyone else have anything else to add on big battles?
Only that I really want to go and have a try.
Yes.
Right. We'll have a
Yes.
try. Let's get on to other news then. First off, there are a couple of problems during the week where people are having trouble logging in. Apparently, something in the internet route between Turbine and these people was getting clogged, and Turbine had to work with their provider in order to work around it. So there were little problems, but
Yeah.
because of that, they have extended the summer festival to go through this weekend. Of course, by the time this show is posted, it's probably going to be over. But extra loot box are also dropping this weekend.
And can I just say they haven't fixed the problem, because I still had that problem this morning. I lost the connection to the server, so I logged
Yes.
out and could not get back on. Could go to any
Yeah.
other server except the one I lagged out on.
Oh, woot.
That's really bad.
All right. Now, the other thing is that Sapiens made a note to remind us that the housing updates that are coming later this year are not directly tied to the Helm's Deep expansion. Some of them are going to be probably going to be made during the expansion, but they're all not going to be done in one lump sum, and it's going to be done over a gradual basis. And I suspect they consider phase 1 to have been the foreclosures thing that they did recently.
Yeah, they did say that that was phase 1 back when they did it, so yes.
Yes. Now, another thing concerning the new forums is that Sapiens put out the policy on what you can do for your signatures concerning pictures if you want to have picture signatures on there, an image on your signature instead of just text. And they're saying that you have a maximum size of 350 by 125, no animation.
Which is fair enough, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know some people are complaining about that, saying, well, why can't we do that? Well, that's because you've got a lot of people who still have some pretty poor connections, and they don't want someone to crash every time they go into the forums because of these huge animated pictures coming up.
Yeah, they don't want to go back to where they were.
Right. All right, so let's get into the sales for this week. The sample for this week is a rejuvenation potion. I know, whoop-de-doo.
Do you? Yeah, that's just ridiculous, that. Sorry, I have so many of those out of those Hobbit presents.
Yeah, I was going
And
to say, free samples are almost useless now with the Hobbit presents.
yeah, so yeah, not going to waste my time logging in for that one.
Right. And then, Lily Kate, I believe you had a special article this week. Okay, she's not here. All right, she dropped out again, apparently. But she had her guide to her creatures all about for the spring festival. I know we're in the summer festival now, and that's just finishing up, but since she originally posted this on CSTM and converted it into the new format, we're now seeing her guide on those shrews that you get in the spring festival.
Yeah, and she did a really good job with it, and it'll be
Yes.
really good when she gets through all her old content so we can see new content, because she will be making new videos for us, so that'll be really cool when that starts happening.
Right. And now, Sig, you have a
Yes,
new
sir.
series coming out?
I do. I'm going to start, kind of like an advice column type thing. Except the thing is I'm not going to provide any real answers. It's just all for comedy. So
I'm sorry, there is no way I'm going to a dwarf for advice. Sorry.
Yeah, but so the first one's actually going to be posted this coming Monday, and what I really need from listeners and people who read the site is to send me questions. What do you need help with? And I'll let you know what I think. So you can do that by sending me a message through Middle Earth Network, or you can send me an email, sig@warsteeds.com, or there are various other ways to get me on Twitter. Sig's Beard is the handle there. So send me questions or whatever you need help with, and we'll see what happens.
I'll send you a question. I've got the perfect question for you.
Sounds good.
And I'm sending him everything Lizzie asked me. The latest one is, why are our heads on the top of our bodies? I can answer that one on the fly.
No,
Alright.
I gotta think about it.
What I'm looking forward to is sending questions to both Ask Pineleaf and Ask Skig.
Right.
He
With
says
that,
he's
I
gonna
think.
think about it.
All right, Mist.
Yes.
I hear you're preparing for a walk.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
I hadn't noticed. Yes, we are preparing for a walk. LOTRO Players is doing the fellowship walk this year, and we're kicking it off on the 22nd of September at 2 p.m. with Frodo's birthday party, which you're going to be live broadcasting. just in case you'd forgotten that one, Pinely.
Just in case I've forgotten, yes.
Yeah.
As if you weren't going to remind me 75 times before then.
Only 75? Gee. I was thinking more like 1,075, but yeah, we've got some great competitions planned, which we'll be putting up on LOTRO Players site soon. And you can enter. There's screenshot competition, a cosmetics competition, a video competition, and a poetry competition. So enter those and have some fun. And yeah, just lots going on. And the walk is going to be fabulous. So.
And
Don't
you
forget
actually
the creating the best competition.
and
Well,
you
we
actually,
do.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Just so people know, we do have a couple of guest judges. It's not all just the organisers judging the competition. So we've got Golden Star, who's agreed to be a judge on our cosmetics competition, and we have Sprydra from LOTRO Players, who's also going to help judge the screenshot competition. So, yeah, we have a couple of guest judges as well. So it should be fun. And Dang, you were going to say something?
Yeah, you actually had 2 posts go up this week about the Fellowship Walk, if you want to talk a little bit about those.
Yeah, we did have 2 posts go up. One of them is just explaining the walk itself. So basically the goals of the walk, why we're doing the walk, because as everyone should know, hopefully, we're doing this to raise money for Child's Play, which is an international children's charity. And so that post, it will also give you the legs of the journey and how much money we need to raise to walk to that place in the game. So if you want to see what we're planning, go there. And I think that post pretty much answers most general questions about it. And the other post we put up was our Fellowship Walk teams. So we're really happy that this year we're going to have some vendors on our walk. So if you get hungry or thirsty, you'll be able to just shoot over to a vendor and they'll give you some pie or pudding, some ale, some pipeweed if you just want to have a smoke.
Yeah.
And they're all dressed the same. We also have security because we do know that people just make alts. So generally we're hoping a lot of people come, and we are aware that they could be just level 7 characters. So
we don't require you to be at level 10, unlike Turbine, so.
That's right. You can participate at level 7 or even 6. So,
okay.
Or if you get out in time, level 5.
You know, I have done that intro 20 times, and each time my objective was to get out at level 5. There is no way I could get out at level 5.
You can actually pay to skip the intro, and so that way you can actually be level 5.
Yes, but you can't come out of the intro at level 5. If anyone has come out of the intro at level 5, email me. I want to know how you did it, because I've done it 20 times to prove that it can be done, and I have not done it. So, but anyway, back to the walk. We have our security guards now. Council of Secret Fire, Kinship on Landreval, have agreed to be our security officers, and they'll be on the walk as well with us, keeping everyone safe from those nasty dwarves that pop up. Oh, sorry, nasty critters that pop up. So, yeah, so we've got that, and they'll have their own uniform. And we have the organisers in their walking outfits with their maps and everything. And a picture of the 3 uniforms is up on LOTRO Players, so you can have a look before you actually come to the walk. So, but yeah,
And if you want to
really
easily,
happy.
yeah,
Sorry.
if you want to easily find that first post, you can actually click on the banner on the right side. That's the Fellowship Walk ad, and that'll take you right to the article with all the information of all the walk details and all that stuff. So it's that easy.
All right,
It
Miss
is.
Tab. Yes, Miss Tab. One question. You
Yes,
said.
only one.
All right. For now,
Okay.
you said that the vendors are going to be dressed distinctively so that you could shoot over to them during the walk, but when did that break the line?
No, the vendors will be in line, so stop walking, wait till a vendor catches up with you, and then say, hey, I want some food.
Yes, but that would stop the line if it's done like
No.
last year.
Well, see, that's the thing. A lot of things this year have changed on the walk.
Ah. All
I'm
right.
sorry, but yeah, we've changed the route. Just lots has changed. So
Very well. We'll get into that later. Now,
yes,
Now we have no donations this week, but if you would like to give the donation, you will get a mention on these podcasts. How do you do that? Just go to LOTRO Players and press the donate button on the upper right side of the page. For $5, you get a mention on the LOTRO Players podcast of your choice, while for $10, you get a mention on all 6 current podcasts, which includes LOTRO Players News, Fellowship of the Creeps, Through the Palantir, Unexpected Vidcast, LOTRO Academy, and Lily Kate's Small LOTRO Adventures.
That's right, yeah. We did add another one, so very cool.
Yes. And until next time, skirmish responsibly.
have
And so
fun.
long.
Night,